Hi everyone, welcome to Beyond Coaching and welcome to my conversation with Marloes Helmans. Marloes is a wonderful friend and business mentor, and I'm really happy to have worked with her, and I'm sure I will in the future as well. And we're going to talk today about bringing the feminine into running a business. I know that when I look at myself, as much as soul-based coaching is about allowing the feminine in and using the qualities of the masculine with that as well. When I look at what I was doing in my own business, it was very much about trying to make stuff happen. And I was very much in that focus and in the trying to control things somehow, even though I was very clear that I couldn't. But that was kind of where my natural focus was. It's just what I've been taught. So I've been very happy to come across Marloes, who is a gorgeous example of this, how to do this and how to bring this into life. So welcome, Marloes. It's really lovely to have you here.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Would you like to start by telling a little bit about yourself so that people know who they're listening to?
Yes, well, I can go way, way back. I love what you said about the masculine, like the getting things done. I actually started my career in the investment world, like the venture capital world, strategy consulting, like the uber masculine environments that were all about making more money, helping businesses grow, like really doing it, like focusing targets, using all that energy, which was extremely valuable to have that experience. And also, even when I was very young at the time, I was 22, 23, and I felt like there must be other ways of doing this. This feels like it's that we're missing something here. So that probably was the beginning of, my being aware of how you create results and the different ways that we can do this. It was the best example of, okay, this is beautiful. This is, it taught me a lot. But there must be a much more joyful, effortless way. So I've been in that world for quite some time. And then in 2007, started my first business, a career coaching business, and ran into all the questions of how do you even get clients? How do you build a business? I felt like I was a complete beginner because I only had the experience of building huge businesses. And then I did that for a couple of years with great joy. My business quickly grew actually to 6 figures. I was extremely proud of that until then one day I felt, okay, I think I'm being called for the next thing, which was in 2014 when I actually sort of dropped my whole business and rebuilt a new one, which is the business coaching business that I currently focus most of my time on. And I still have my career coaching business. And that's actually quite similar to what you do in soul-based coaching. We're training other career coaches to use the methodology that I developed over the years. So this is what I do now. Most of my time I spend working with entrepreneurs, growing their business and growing into the leadership role of enjoying life while growing your business. That's basically the best way, I think, to put it. Yeah, I can tell lots more about this, but maybe that's a good start for people
that's a
to
good
know
start. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
God, I did a little bit of work in the investment industry as well. It's like definitely uber masculine to start with. So why don't we look at what has been your biggest learning when it comes to bringing more of that feminine into how you run your businesses?
I think the stuff that I learned in that investment world, I saw it worked. So when I started my business, I was basically doing what other people were doing. So I was copying that, which was very much determined, by the masculine energy. So you need to set goals, you need to speak to so many clients, then you get like so many leads, you need to network twice a week, and then all that good stuff, because it's actually very effective. Until I realized that there was a point where my results are going down, actually. Like the more I did this, my results were dropping until I really came to the point that it was like everything collapsed. I was like, so what's going on here? And it was really a process of a couple of years that I was trying to figure out, so there's something else that I've been doing so far that worked, that I've stopped doing. So what's happened? And the biggest thing that I've learned, especially when your business is growing, is that you need to be able to receive. And I think it sounds so easy to all of us, but the minute your business starts growing, you get more success. We hit this internal barrier of this is probably the maximum of success and joy and love and appreciation and abundance that feels okay to me to receive, that feels like sort of my natural barrier. And I hit that because my business grew and became very successful. And I was so uncomfortable that I sort of made everything explode so I could just get back to where everybody else was. Like, we're struggling to build a business. We're trying so hard. We're getting a couple of clients. Because what happens when you reach that barrier is that you get a totally different invitation from the universe, and that is to really practice your art of receiving, because there's so much more to receive above that limit. But that's, to most people and to most of my clients that I work with, that's just the biggest unknown territory of all. Like, we have been so programmed, especially I grew up in the Netherlands, we've been so programmed that we shouldn't want more when it's enough. This is enough. Why would you want more? Everybody else is, sort of like, just act like everybody else. Don't what's that saying in je hoofd boven het maaiveld.
Yeah, exactly. Don't get your it's like tall trees catch the most amount of wind. It's like don't get yourself up too high, or your head will be chopped off. That's kind of what our Dutch saying says. Yeah.
Yes. And I think it is in many cultures. That being attached to the struggle and being attached to not having enough money is what's like the biggest common denominator of most people that go through life. So that keeps you in the safe, is it a herd? Is that the word? That keeps you just with the herd. It's like, oh, this is where everybody else is. This is how I fit in. This is how I belong. And that has been by far the biggest lesson. You need to, when you open up to the possibilities that are there for you, you also need to understand that you might still be attached to just being safe between the others in the herd, and be ready and willing to leave that to reach like even more green pastures that are out there that everybody in the herd thinks aren't for them. So, and that is the way you do that is either believing that there is another place for you that you can grow to, and then in order to be able to receive it, you haven't been programmed to receive that. You've been programmed to be attached to where everybody else is. You've been programmed to repeat that, this is only for rich people, or this is something, well, all that stuff. You probably know what we're talking about. And this is moving to that next level really asks of you to practice that art of allowing and receiving, which are the number 2 feminine energy arts, really. That's been my biggest lesson. And it took me a while, Annemiek, to practice that and really start receiving even more. Yeah.
Yes, and it makes sense in how you're explaining your own journey. And I think there's a lot resonating in me in terms of that ceiling, like that level of like, how much can I receive? How much is okay for me to receive? And I think this is probably true for everyone, no matter where you are, whether you're at the beginning of the journey of building a business, or even, when you're not having your own business, but there's like this maximum amount of how. I remember reading, is it The Big Leap from, what's his name?
Gay Hendricks.
Yes.
Upper limit, this is it.
Yeah, and it's that question of how long can I allow myself to feel good? Like that was like for me, that was been a great place to start. Like just seriously timing it. Like how long? Like if I kind of made it to a minute, that was long at the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was shocking because my head would just be too busy about, stuff that needed to happen or blah, 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 blah. It didn't even have to be like fear or anxiety or any of those things. But it's like, so beautiful invitation to start practicing, I think, no matter where you are, this art of allowing and this art of receiving. And these are two different ones, aren't they? So maybe,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, maybe you'd like to speak a little bit more about what they are, and also what people can do to invite them into their lives.
Yeah. Well, because you just said something, I think that was brilliant. That was a really tangible thing that you can start doing today, which is what you said, like when you're in that high vibe, which is when you're in the higher frequencies, which is where it's all about allowing and receiving, because there is no resistance anymore and blocking everything from flowing to you. So maybe to begin with the second question, so how do you do that? Well, one of the things is it's like a muscle that you need to train. It's a muscle that you need to train to stay in that energy of enjoying the good stuff, like enjoying that feeling of ease, which you will when you're in that place, you will feel no resistance. You will feel life's energy flowing through you. You will feel your capacity of receiving flowing through you. That there's no resistance. What's probably the most difficult is that it will take maybe for some people only 1 second or 2 seconds for your head to go thinking, oh, I hope this will last. This probably won't last. What can I do to make this last? And then you're all gone. I mean, then you're building the resistance. So that's actually a nice exercise that you could start doing. So how long can you stay focused on really the physical sensation of what it feels like to be in that place? So whenever we bring our attention to the physical sensations, our head has a harder time interfering with that, because you're basically just only using your mind to focus on where can I feel and sense this in my body? Oh, in my belly. So and what exactly am I sensing in my belly? So that just makes you really, incorporate that feeling, rather than allowing your ego and your head to throw all these things at you, like, you're not supposed to feel this good. You haven't crossed off any of your things on your to-do list today.
How are you going to
haven't made a sale in 2 weeks.
What are you going to do to get the next sale? Yeah.
Right. So, and it is, I mean, it sounds easy, but I've been in business for 12 years. I have 2 very successful businesses. And I still practice this every day, because every level a new devil. So every time you move to the next level, this limit that we just talked about will keep growing. Like, then you get all comfortable in your new normal of having all that abundance, and then you hit the new barrier of,
and before we get comfortable, there's often the phase of, can I repeat this? Like, oh, that must have been a fluke. I've sold like 3 things today. Can I ever have 3 things sold again on one day? Like we start to doubt ourselves really easily. So all of that is a great field for practice. And I love what you're saying about how it's about really connecting in with that physical sensation of what it's like when it's flowing well. So this is part of where when in soul-based coaching we use metaphor to really get an embodied sense of what that is like. But it's such a big part of it is training, as you say. I like the muscle analogy. It's not something that we're just used to doing other things. So it's not that we can't do it.
We're programmed to doing other things. We're programmed, because I honestly believe that our most natural state is the same as the trees and everything in the universe has. Everything that's not been distorted is programmed to receive and allow. Just look at a tree. Look at the process of a tree. It's not thinking, what do I need to do to bring new blossoms next year and then get cherries and everything. It's just not resisting the natural process. And I think we, like human beings, especially in this part of the world, have been programmed to and I sometimes honestly ask myself, who started this? Who even started this? Where did this begin? And I don't know if it's appropriate to say that here, but I honestly, since I moved to France, I moved my family to France because source, my guidance told me to come here, which is how I live. And this France has a long history as well of feminine and masculine energy. I've been asking myself how this whole suppression of the feminine has ever started. So what happened there? And what is it? I feel the strong calling, not just for us females, but I mean, it probably begins with us, to start really embracing that again and bringing that into our business. Because it's the most natural thing, and we see it as females with our natural cycles. We are the proof that this whole intelligence is just doing its thing for us. So I'm sort of lost my train of thought. I'm trying to get back to what you asked about your question.
You were talking about not resisting the natural process.
Right. So just, I think because your first question a few minutes ago was, what is the difference between allowing and receiving? And I think allowing to me feels like just allow the natural process to have its course. Just why would you even want to interfere? What I see many of my clients do is they're trying to interfere with the natural process of unfolding that is here all the time. When you use your masculine energy to set a goal and to visualize exactly what you want it to look like, then bring in your feminine energy to bring in the emotions and feelings that are associated to that picture, which will touch something inside of you, like, because your brain won't be able to understand the difference between what you're visualizing and what you're actually witnessing with your real eyes, so to speak, in this 3D world. And then when you add your emotions to that, you feel this reality as if it were true.
Yeah, and I think that's one part that I had been missing for a very long time, even though I was kind of aware of all these things, but is to really be aware of the things in me that didn't feel like that yet. So the fears that were stirred up, the beliefs that, oh, that can't happen, or I've never been able to do that, or how on earth am I going to do that? It's like, it's taken a lot of practice for me personally, and I'm pretty sure that's true for a lot of people, to trust that, and to take, like, when I love the way that you're putting it, like using that masculine energy to kind of get a sense of what is that goal, what is it exactly, what is important about that,
Right.
and then bringing in there, what does that feel like? Any resistance that comes up, so any fears, anger, frustration, anything, you need to look that in the eye. One of my favorite ways of doing that is using Ho'oponopono. It's just a beautiful practice,
Yes.
To really let go of all of these emotions and limiting beliefs and all the rest of it that have been part of that programming, because if that's still there, there's like it's hard. Well, that's what you're calling out for, isn't it? For the struggle to continue. So it's not about. So, and I think these distinctions are sometimes hard to pinpoint when you're on either side of, like, not quite getting it, or then having really solid experience of it. It's like, when am I forcing something? When, what is the aligned action here? What is, like, because natural process of unfolding, it's beautiful. And when we're just sitting back, well, actually, I'm still rubbish at sitting back. So I have not enough experience of that. But will something happen at some point that's going to, make stuff happen, like have that process unfold? And I think there's a lot of nuances in this process, that we can get hung up about in some way.
I think you're touching on a very, very essential point when people talk about this. When they, for example, talk about the laws of the universe, or the law of attraction, and the art of allowing, they usually talk about allowing all the good stuff. But when you ask me, allowing is actually much more about what we just said, it's allowing the natural process of creation and manifestation to unfold, which means it will bring up all your limiting beliefs, fears, doubts, everything. And that, the art of allowing is also allowing that to come to the surface. Why? Because, and this is something that many of you may recognize, every time you move to this next level, or actually you move beyond one, it is always, in my experience, and to be honest, I hate those experiences. I know they're always coming up, and every time I'm in the middle of one, I'm like, why is this really necessary? But I'll explain. It's always preceded by a period of deconstruction, because everything that got you to this level, the person you were here with all your beliefs and all your actions and everything you were, is not the person that you'll be here. So in order to move to the next level, to sort of build your new normal, your new, what is it, even your new self, like it's an elevated, advanced version of you. It's getting closer to your higher self, step by step, actually. You need to deconstruct everything that no longer serves you here. And many people are trying to cling to everything, because what it looks like in business usually is that things are falling apart. Things are just falling apart. You'll have the feeling that everything that you've built is sort of just collapsing. Stuff that you did before isn't working anymore. Maybe people in your life don't feel like the best fit. And it feels like you're losing everything you had. And I think you only experience this when maybe many of you have gone through these periods, maybe not in your business, but certainly in your life. And the art of allowing, we can elaborate. It's huge. The art of allowing is also allowing this, because going back to the tree, in order to have cherries this year, we have a beautiful, huge cherry tree in our garden here in France. The tree needs to deconstruct in the autumn. And then, and this period is even more annoying, I feel, is the winter, when nothing new is surfacing. So you're like, okay, so I've deconstructed all of this. I've sort of survived all the collapsing and deconstruction. Now what? And then it's the void of not knowing. Yeah. And all you can do there, and this touches on the art of receiving, in my opinion. I'm not so, black and white in all these words, but that is the art of receiving the guidance in the void. Because this is the natural process unfolding for you. The least resistance you bring into that process, the quicker it goes, the better your results. So this is just, every time you'll see this happening, and when you cling to keeping everything, you're not really renewing yourself. The cherry tree wouldn't be able to bring good cherries if it would try to keep what's left of this year, right? So, and everybody says, oh yeah, that makes sense. But then when we look at our processes, our natural processes, we're like, this feels very uncomfortable. And most people, and this is my biggest calling invitation to you today, most people will try to cling to this, which is what will keep them stuck here. We cannot move to the next level when we keep doing the things and being the person we were at the level before, or at the level we're now. This is the biggest transformation that's asked of you. And this is not for the faint-hearted, because this is exactly where you've been, Annemiek.
Oh,
this is huge.
Multiple times, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
There is no way around it, is there? And this is one of the reasons why I've been really fortunate to have you in my circles, because you've been showing how to do this. People will often start to talk about trust at this point. Like, you have to be able to trust this process in a way. But the longer I'm with all this, it's not even like, trust used to be something that I had to do, or that was required of me in order for things to happen. But it's kind of like, you have to be willing to engage with this. It's like a different thing. I don't know how you look at that question of how can I trust this process of unfolding?
Yeah, trust. I think it's beautiful that you're sharing your experience with this, because I think trust is like, it's a very, very strange concept. Because if you would really live in complete accordance with all the laws of the universe, the tree doesn't trust. The tree doesn't even know the word. Yeah. Because when I'm in sync with all the natural unfolding of the universe, there's no need to feel trust or to practice trust. But I really recognize what you're saying from my clients. Like, I need to trust. The tree is not worried about whether it's trusting or not. And there was something else I wanted to say about that when you were talking about this. Because the minute we think we need to trust, it's our head. That's really an emotion that's very egoic. Is that the right word to it? Because it is an essential energy of the universe. It sounds really weird to me that we need to practice that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you tap into the field of the universe, it's all about that. And what I loved, what did you do? I'm a bit unfocused. You need to cut this out. Je zei net iets waarvan ik dacht, oh, dat is heel mooi. Ik moet even zo doen, dan weet je straks dat je moet knippen. Over, je deed iets. Ik ben dus ongesteld, hè. En ik ben dus zo unfocused. Het is niet normaal. Ik heb geen hormonen niet meer. En dat merk ik nou. Want je zei net iets, maar ik weet niet wat het was. En toen dacht ik, oh ja, dan moet ik daar iets over zeggen. Want dan breng je dus liefde-energie in het proces. En dan, ploep, weet je, dat brengt je gelijk naar boven. Want dat is super universal, zeg maar.
Ja, oké. Ik weet niet meer precies wat ik zei. Ik had het over... what ik zei was, you have to be willing to engage. And trust seems to be like a non-issue.
Ja, misschien willing to engage kunnen we terugpakken. We can take that back to being willing to engage also means allowing everything that's surfacing. That's what we just said. Because when it's not surfacing, you're not making the transformations. You're not letting go. Because you need to know what you need to let go of. And in order to do that, it needs to surface.
Yeah, exactly. And in a way, one of the things that came up for me was like, it's a little ego death, isn't it? It's painful. It can be really painful, especially when, you know, I've had multiple times in my life when my whole life crumbled, like there was nothing left. And that's really, really hard and tough. And when I look at where I am now, I couldn't be here without any of that. And I'm beyond happy and grateful for where I am right now. But it's, as you said, it's not for the faint-hearted. There's another thing that comes up when I'm listening to this, and I know that it will be a question for other people too. When we look at nature's natural unfolding, that includes earthquakes, and it includes forest fires. It includes really devastating, disastrous events. So in a way we cannot, you know, and of course after a forest fire the earth becomes really fertile again, but it's like a very long process. So when we follow the unfolding, there is no guarantee of success or outcomes. Although, you know, the cherry tree goes with the seasons, there is no guarantee that there will be abundant cherries next year, and there is no guarantee that it won't get sick or chopped down or you know, lightning will strike. So what do we do with that? Like, and let's make it really personal, if you don't mind. Like, have you had times where you felt like you were in that process of deconstructing or in the void, and when there were times when you felt like, but what if this is only going down, right? Or what if this is just the start of disaster? Or what if, you know, when we look in the world, there's so many people that have to deal with high levels of violence, pollution, poverty. Like, how do we look at that in the bigger picture? This is one of the areas that personally I struggle with. It's like this. Yeah. Anyway, how do you look at that?
Yeah, it's always a delicate thing to talk about this, in my opinion, because there's a lot of what is it, hardship in the world. And it would be too easy for us, the ones on the good side, really, to say that that's just nature balancing itself out. It's really all about, like what you said, like after the fire, the soil will be more fertile again. So it's really all a matter of nature seeking balance at all times, which is what it will always be doing. But it's difficult to say that because and the one thing that I find very important about that is that that we don't say that when we're in that position, you're doing something wrong, which is, some people might say like, oh, you just have to work on your mindset. And I actually believe that our life is unfolding in the perfect way, like the way our highest self knows we can best thrive during our time here on this planet. I strongly believe that. And even I've had, and you know this, a very difficult time in my life after a car accident when I was basically unable to do anything. I couldn't even brush my teeth. And my doctors even said, you'll never be able to work again. You'll be dependent on someone for the rest of your life. Now, when I was in that situation, and I think that's the thing that saved me, I've always had this strong belief in everything happens for me. Everything happens for me, not to me. Because there's two choices we have in life. We're either feeling, or well, not maybe feeling, but we're either unconsciously, because we've been programmed that way. Don't forget, with everything that I'm saying, I want you to realize you've been programmed in certain ways, which is why you act and behave and feel the way you do. And it takes huge awareness to recreate that and to act differently. But we've been programmed to act as a victim. So you have two choices. You're either thinking, why is this happening to me? How am I going to survive this? My life is, spoiled, or it's, it's never going to work out for me. And why am I now? I didn't get any financial support from the government because I had a condition that was too vague. And of course, I went through a few weeks of, why is everybody else getting money? I am single. I just bought a house. I have a huge mortgage. I'm not getting any money because they think, they don't understand what I have. I mean, it's bad enough that nobody knows what I'm suffering from and that nobody has a cure, and then I'm not getting support. And why is everybody else getting support? Like, this is something that is very natural for us as a first reaction because you're hurt. When something bad happens to your life, you're hurt. And the art of allowing, in my opinion, is also all about allowing all of those emotions to come to you, to speak to you. Because if you would try to not feel them because you want to stay positive, then you're just not your best ally. So you're going through that phase. I went through that phase of, okay, I can just let it all out. Just let my heart and body speak about what it feels about this situation. But then I realized, is this me? Is this the real me? Is this what's getting me out of this situation? No, because doing more of this is going to create more of this. So the second choice you have is being the positive, say the victor, thinking, what if this is temporary? What are the options that I have? I really believe that the people who make it in life and business embrace their victim because they're not trying to never be a victim because they think it's not good, because everything is all right. But then it's the conscious choice to move to the other energy of trying to find solutions, trying to find the sunbeams through the clouds because they are always there. And this is something my mother told me. She's like the best example in the world. This is what saved me. This is what brought me to successful businesses, a lovely husband, 2 sons, and a house in France. Because I refused, I allowed the victim feelings to be there for a while, and then said, but this is not what I choose to focus my attention on. I want to believe this happened for me, and I will not understand until in a couple of years. And it took me quite some years to understand. And I've learned so much from that very, very difficult situation of being at my lowest low. It's hard to relate to that, looking at my life today. And I think we have these two choices, a victim or a victor. And I think that people who succeed in life and business make that conscious choice to nourish these energies of always finding new options, always looking for the positive in things. And I mean, this even just doing that is practicing your art of allowing. It's practicing, it's tapping into the higher frequencies of love, which is the essence of the universe. This is, when we're talking about feminine in business and life, this is it. It's choosing to tap into the highest frequency, and you may not be able to reach them in a day or 2 days, and that's okay. Just make it your honest desire to never be on a lower frequency than you can possibly be today. And that takes a lot of sort of, it really takes mastering your mindset, because your ego is going to be wanting to pull you back all the time. People around you, the people who worried about me, they were trying to take me down. Oh, but maybe you should see another doctor. I'm so worried about you. Are you okay? I said, don't send me your worries. If you want to send me anything, send me love. Because I will block my energy field from you if you're only sending me worry frequency, because that's not going to help me. So everything, when you're in a terrible situation, it's usually helping you deconstruct something that is going to propel you to that next level. And it never looks like that. And it's never comfortable. Yeah, and it will take a couple of years before you'll be thankful that it happened.
Yeah, if ever, but in the sense of if ever completely. But I think there's there's a lot of really useful things in what you're sharing, and one of the things is it's about, we can't control the circumstances. The cherry tree cannot control, whether it's going to there's going to be night frost after it blooms or what. We just cannot control them. So the only thing that we can choose is how we respond to that. And I think,
can I say something?
Yeah,
I wanted to say something about those trees, because we have a lot of fruit trees in our garden, like apricots, apples, I don't know, lots and lots, and we're discovering all of them because we just moved here a couple of months ago. But what we know is that they don't give fruit every year. They don't. It's really a surprise whether we'll have lots of them this year, or, I mean, that's what the people told us that have lived here in this village for a longer time. And I love that idea, because that also means embracing the natural process of unfolding. And our masculine energy is so programmed, not the masculine energy, the masculine way of doing business is really programmed to say, as long as you do this, this, and this, you will get the results, which is true in 90 or 80% of the situations. What the long-term success, in my opinion, asks of us is that we don't interfere too much with this natural process of unfolding. So the cherry tree just picked a year to sort of get back to, to strengthen the whole tree, to not give all the energy away to the fruit that others will be eating, like they're taking the energy from the tree. Mm-hmm. It just decides that this is what I need right now. And maybe you've had these periods in your life. I've had them in my business that I sort of just said to myself, this is probably one of those, recharging years. This is probably one of those recharging years. It's the business taking some time to recharge so we can, go even faster and quicker in the next level. And as long as you just don't interfere with that, we're so demanding. We are so demanding to our bodies. We're so demanding to our business. Everything needs to work. And then you give yourself such a great gift if you can just trust that unfolding. And you usually feel the momentum building. Yeah.
And there's the trust word, isn't it? But there is that's about knowing that this is how the situation unfolds. And when I look at myself personally, I am rubbish at taking that invitation to rest, and it means it makes everything harder. So this is one of my incredible invitations to start mastering a lot more of, because it's different topic, different time, but it's that invitation of what's being asked of me now is a very, very important what's the word? Like if there's one way that I would kind of describe how people can start to work with this, It's like that question of what's being asked of me right now, and how am I relating to it? Am I embracing it, or allowing it, or am I fighting it, or trying to ignore it and just kind of override it? So these two things would be my way in. Along with the other things that we've talked about earlier, that thing about how long can you feel good, like really feel good, and practicing that muscle, and really looking at, so where am I in that natural cycle of unfolding? What is being asked of me, and can I meet that with as little resistance as possible? In the sense of, can I allow whatever it is that to come up, which is not just the fun and beautiful stuff, knowing that there is always a time of autumn and winter, and the deconstruction and the void, and then there is the time when things start to kick into gear again, right? Yeah, gorgeous.
But resting. If you want to, wanted to share one more thing on that resting, because that feels that's the most unnatural thing for most of us. Resting. And it's the final step where resting. It's the final step in manifesting the thing you desire, and the thing that's been unfolding for you is the resting. Because if you would visualize it, it basically looks like this. If you're resting, you're just doing this. So you can see all the space and openness that I'm creating in front of me to be filled with all the good stuff that I've been longing to receive, right? And when you look, if I would be doing a lot in order to create and manifest it, I'm doing this. So I'm actually, if this were a door, I'm actually pushing that door closed, and because it opens to the inside, and I forgot about that for a minute. So when I lie back or lean back, the door can open. And if you look at how we conceive as humans, it all begins with opening and literally receiving the masculine. And when we're fighting that, I mean, the masculine is not even going to be able to do what it needs to do to land in this place of, it's all receiving and allowing. This is what we do 9 months. During 9 months, we just allow. And it's very similar in business. And I always love to use that as an example. It all begins with receiving, because we don't, and this is important, I think, it is not about living life and doing business the feminine way, because we cannot conceive without the masculine. It is knowing the importance of the allowing in order for the masculine to the two of them together make the magic. So I think being so focused on the masculine of giving and really, just putting actions into place, we can, as long as we practice the receiving, because we know this to be true in how we conceive and how we create life. This is the only thing we need to do. Bring more of that into our business, and your business will be much easier to you.
And then it's a beautiful metaphor. And there is when you do that, when you lean back and when you say, that's all we need to do, I'm just instantly aware that what I used to do was fill that space with worries and what's the word? Oh God, like wanting it now, like not having impatience, and like doing that and staying in that high vibration, in that sense of what it feels like physically to be in connection with that vision. Like that's super practice. Yeah. Great. Thank you so much, Marloes. We've talked a lot about quite esoteric concepts, actually. And anybody who would like to know more about how you bring this into your really practical reality, both your own life and into the way that you help other people build their business, where can they find you? Because this is one of the ways that you've been super inspiring for me personally, and I know lots of other people. Where can they find you?
They can find me. Actually, I've been working in Dutch for most of my, well, actually all of this time until now. And I've just recently started doing English videos and sharing more in English because people have been asking about it. So you can find me on my website, which is www.marloeshalmans.com. And I think you probably need to put it up here somewhere. And there's an English page, which is all about the feminine in business. And that's, so it's marloeshalmans.com/feminine. What is it? Dash feminine business. Yeah, but you probably need to put it up somewhere. And
we'll put it in to make sure that it's really easy to find. Yes, brilliant. Thank you so much for your time, Marloes, and for your insights and experience. And everyone who's been watching, I hope you've really enjoyed this conversation as much as I have, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye.